What should your kids and grandkids do during a home invasion? What role should they play, if any? Well, that's a question I get all the time. I am former CIA officer Jason Hanson. I do a lot of home security consulting. I do a lot of home security audits, meaning somebody flies me into their house and I go through it and I say, here's where we need the cameras. Here's where, the alarm system. Here's the glass breaker alarms. Here's the driveway alarm, all that kind of stuff. And many people have kids. And guess what? I've got 7 kids myself. So some people I work with who have a ton of money have panic rooms, and it's, hey, get the kids in the panic room as quickly as possible. But guess what? The majority of people do not have a panic room. A guy I was working with recently said, well, I'm just going to tell my kids to stay in the room. If there's a home invasion, then I'm going to go deal with the threat, right? And I said, great in theory, but this guy had young kids like I do. And guess what? Young kids are not going to listen. They are going to wander out. So I've got 7 kids. Right now, my oldest is 12. My youngest is 1. I did not have children until after I left the CIA. So my kids are younger. So if I told my kids during a home invasion, hey guys, everybody stay in the room, well, yeah, my 12-year-old's gonna listen. My 10-year-old son has about the maturity level of a 2-year-old, so he probably won't listen. So I've got to worry about kids, my 5-year-old, my 3-year-old, my 6-year-old, my 8-year-old, coming out because they're little kids, they don't listen. So I told the guy, here's how you do home defense properly when you have little children who are not gonna listen to you. If an alarm goes off, they may wander out because they're scared. They're probably not gonna sit in there like you tell them. So for me, here's what I do. My home defense gun is a pistol. The reason is because I have 7 kids, I can't sit there and hunker down in my master bedroom with my wife with my AR-15 pointed at the door and just wait for the police to arrive. I've got to go out there and deal with the threat because I don't know, is the intruder in the basement where some of my kids are? Are they on the top level where some of my kids are? I cannot just sit there and relax. So I use a pistol because I can move quicker, it's more maneuverable for me, but if you can hunker down, use an AR-15. This is currently my home defense gun. This is the Sig Sauer P320 Legion X5, X5 Legion, I don't know, Sig always confuses me with their gun names, but this is the gun. Of course, I have a white light underneath it. You gotta have a white light on your gun, and I've got my fiber optic sight. Great gun, I like it, shoots well, but this thing is a boat anchor, so I use it for home defense. I do not concealed carry it every day. I have other guns like the Sig P365 that I concealed carry every day. So if my alarm goes off, I open up my rapid access safe, I grab my gun, and then I go find the threat. But remember, I've got young kids who'll be wandering around. So I'm not walking through my house with the gun pointed right below eye level, looking through the threat. And why am I not doing that? What if it is one of my children who's getting up? What if I run into my 12-year-old who left her room and I have a gun pointed at her? I do not want to do that. Not a good idea. So if I am clearing my house, and I have had to do because I have had some of the alarms go off, is I am walking through the house with a gun pointed at the 45-degree angle down here. Hopefully you can see it. I'm going to step back again. So I'm moving quickly. My head is up, but the gun is down here. That way, if I get startled and my kid turns the corner and I have my finger on the trigger, which you should never ever do, and I wouldn't, but if somebody did and they popped off around, it would go right in the floor. It wouldn't go in their teenage son or their kid. So please don't think you're going to have like the one kid out of a million, the one 3-year-old out of a million that listens going to stay in the room, because they're not. It doesn't happen. Again, ask me how I know. So I never recommend going through where you're sitting there and you're pointing the gun right there because you do not want to muzzle one of your own family members. Go through the house, have it pointed at the 45-degree angle, look where you're going, because guess what? I can bring it up to eye level, lightning quick, if I have to engage in, if I have to deal with a threat. So that's what I do for home defense. My wife's job is to call 911. So my kids supposed to stay in the room, even though I know they're not, but my wife is going to call 911. I'm going to deal with the threat. Very simple home defense plan. However, one caveat, I travel a lot. So I have a lot of guys who say the same thing. Oh, my wife's going to call 911. And they travel a lot too. And they're like, well, she also have a gun on her side of the bed. Does she know how to use it? And they're like, well, no. You got to have your spouse. Maybe they don't like guns, but they got to have a knife, a tomahawk, a kukri, a giant blade, something. My wife does have a gun on the side of her bed, even though her job is to call 911. But if I'm not there, she obviously has to grab it. One time I came home early from a work engagement. I accidentally set off the alarm. I quickly turned it off and yelled up to her, hey, it was just me. I'm early. Very shortly after, I put something down. I turned the corner and she was standing at the top of the stairs with her Glock 19 pointed down, meaning not at me, but pointed down. And she goes, oh my gosh, you scared me. Why didn't you tell me it was you? And I said, well, I yelled up to you and said it was me. And she was like, I didn't hear you. But that was awesome that my wife did what she was supposed to do, is she grabbed her gun. She was at the top top of the stairs, and all our kids, it was a different house, were at the top. And if I would have come up, she obviously would have taken care of the intruder with her Glock 19. So that is what I recommend if you've got kids or grandkids, is just be careful. Don't think they're gonna get out of your way, and please keep your gun at a 45-degree angle down, because it is lightning quick to bring it up if you have to. So I am former CI officer Jason Hanson. Have a home defense plan, talk to your kids, talk to your wife, and stay safe.